which NFL teams are making the playoffs and who's staying home. It's Who's In, Who's Out on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's football station.
That's right, South Jersey's football station with Who's In and Who's Out. Each week after all the games are done, we tell you which 12 teams will be in the NFL playoffs based on the results after 9 weeks of the NFL season, fellas. This doesn't get any easier as the season goes on. It seems like it gets harder sometimes as the season goes on. We'll see what the standings look like right now. Let's start in the AFC East, where the Patriots are 6-2, the Bills are 5-3, the Dolphins are 4-5, and the Jets hanging in there. They are 2.5 games back at 4-5. 4 teams in play. New England at the top of everybody's list.
Top of my list. I believe that you can't lose your spot because of a bye. They didn't have any reason to see me lose their spot. Plus, the Jets had that nice win over Buffalo, so that takes away a little bit of the magic of the Bills or the run that they were on. New England's at the top of my AFC East.
No worries here.
I like it. No worries here. He says New England wins the East. In the North, this one is another one that seems like the door is being shut on the 3 teams at the bottom. Steelers 6-2, Ravens 4-5. I've got Pittsburgh all the way.
Yeah, I have the Steelers, had them week 9, had them week 8. I think I only moved them out 1 week, and that was foolish by me. In week 6, for some reason, I had moved them out for a brief period of time. But Steelers are the class of that division.
I've been with the Steelers from the beginning. I just don't see a team in this division that's going to overtake them. They have the defense. They have the offense. They have the head coach. They got it.
All right, in the South, it is Tennessee 5-3, Jacksonville 5-3, Houston 3-5, Indianapolis 3-6. I like the Titans over Jacksonville, but this one's going to be really interesting, guys. Tennessee's a -12, Jacksonville's a +89, one of the best in the league.
I have Tennessee in there, and but by an edge. Jacksonville is definitely in the conversation, especially Jacksonville's defense. I don't think that the Jaguars' offense does anything to light my fire, especially Blake Bortles. And they played each other once head-to-head. When they played each other head-to-head in week 2, Tennessee won. For that reason, Tennessee gets the edge in the South for me.
I'm going Titans because I still don't believe in Blake Bortles. In situations like this, the tiebreaker is the quarterback, and the quarterback is Marcus Mariota. I think if push comes to shove, he will get them into the playoffs. The Jaguars may still make the playoffs, but they're not making the playoffs because of Bortles.
All right, in the West, Kansas City 6-3. Raiders get a win. They're 4-5. Chargers hanging around, and Denver 3-5. So in the West, has anybody given up on the Chiefs, who have not played very well the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Well, which Chiefs are you going to get? The Chiefs scored right before halftime with that really well-designed player. The Chiefs that weren't able to close out the deal against Dallas. In Dallas, tough place to play. I know they've slipped a little bit, but I'm still sticking with the Chiefs as far as that division.
Yeah, you can't give up on the Chiefs. Yeah, listen, they may not be the top team in the AFC, but they're still the top team in the AFC West. So, Chiefs, AFC West still.
All right, a couple of wild card teams. This is really hard in the AFC. Josh, where are you going with the wild cards in the AFC? Theoretically, the answer to this question is a wild card.
Well, I'm going Jaguars. I booted the Texans out, obviously, because I know Deshaun Watson. I believe in the Jags' defense. I just don't believe in their offense. I spent some time waffling on this one. I'm not comfortable going Bills. I'm not comfortable going Raiders. So I'll stick with the Ravens for now because their last loss was at Tennessee. And if Tennessee's making the playoffs, that means that their last loss was to a playoff team.
Interesting. I went with Jacksonville as well. I like their defense. I like that point differential that Mike talked about, +89 on their point differential. I do think, though, I knocked out Buffalo because of their loss to the Jets, and Houston with the Deshaun Watson situation. Those were my 2 wildcard teams last week. So Jacksonville is new, and Oakland. I've put the Oakland Raiders back in as the last wildcard spot. That win, being able to win on the road, might be something to propel that team moving forward. We shall see.
I got 2 new teams in there as well. Jacksonville's defense is good enough for me. I'm hanging in with them. And the other team, I mean, this is not a pretty bunch of teams to be picking from. The AFC playoffs are not going to be very compelling, by the way, right?
Correct.
I mean, the AFC playoffs just I guess you could say there's 3 teams in that AFC that make you feel. But I'm going to go with Los Angeles, the Chargers, who kind of controls their own destiny here. They've got a Cleveland burger in there. They got the Jets late in the year. They do have some tough games, including at Dallas. They play at Jacksonville. But I do think that the Chargers have something that the other teams don't, that they're competing with, and that's a quarterback. A lot of these other AFC contenders, if you want to call them that, they don't have the quarterback. I'll go Rivers over a Tyrod Taylor. I'll go Rivers.
You're really anti-Raiders, though. Carr, you don't like Carr? Or it's the Oakland defense that you don't like?
Their defense stinks.
They're minus 18.
Yeah, their defense stinks. All right, let's go to the NFC, guys. In the East,
yeah, we're all the same.
Philly's got a 2.5-game lead. They play Dallas twice. We'll talk about this a little bit. Philly's got an interesting schedule coming up that really could be the difference maker. But I'll stick with Philly at the top, plus 104, which is the best, second best in the league.
You get the best defense in the league coming in, and you throttle them and put that many points up on them. There's no reason to take Philly out of that top spot for me, based on what they did. Now they go into the bye week and they get healthier. Philadelphia.
They're the best team in the NFC. They're the best team in the NFC East. How can you not say the Eagles are going to win this division?
Well, they do play Dallas twice, and they got a stretch. It's very interesting. We'll get into that coming up. In the North, Minnesota 6-2, Detroit 4-4, Green Bay 4-4. I like Minnesota's defense. I like Detroit's quarterback better, but I think Minnesota's defense is good enough to carry them to this division.
I'm going with the Vikings in the North, too. They've won 4 in a row. They've won it without Sam Bradford. They have a situation now where they might put Sam Bradford on IR as they try to make room for Teddy Bridgewater to come back, and that's just at the quarterback position. Yes, the Lions have Matthew Stafford, and yes, they did win last night, but Green Bay is not the same Green Bay. I'm sticking with the Vikings. I think they're improved in a lot of areas, including defensively.
I'm sticking with the Vikings for now. I really wanted to put the Lions in there, but that 2 games back kind of deters me right now. I do like the Vikings defense a lot, but they got a stretch of games, especially that road trip. They got to go in a few weeks. It's going to be rough.
South, it's really a 3-team race. Saints, Panthers, Falcons. I mean, I'll keep the Falcons in because they did go to the Super Bowl last year. I don't know if anybody's believing in them. Josh, where are you going in the South?
I'm sticking with the Saints. I had them last week. I like this defense. I think they're doing a good job with the defense. They're using Kamara and Ingram the right way. Listen, Adrian Peterson may be in the Hall of Fame one day, but he wasn't helping that team at all. I think he was holding them back, and as a result, I'm thinking that it's going to be Saints in the South.
It took until 3 weeks ago that I had the Saints in, but now I have them in, and I'm continue to put them in on the way that they've played and the way they've been impressive on the road, too. I mean, they've gone 3-1 on the road, and their point differential was plus 66, won 6 games in a row. They have Drew Brees. The defense has improved. There's no reason for me that the Saints don't win that division.
I like the Saints as well. Defense. We've been doing this segment for a couple of years. Defense is what sways me. I like the Saints' defense. They win on the road, too. They got the best defense in the division. They're plus 66, and they've won 6 in a row. How about the West, guys? This is more interesting now. I've had the Rams for a couple of weeks. I'm sticking with the Rams. They're the best point differential in the league. They've got the best offense in the league. They're 4-0 on the road. 2-2 at home. That's a little disconcerting there, but they've won 3 in a row. They went across the country and run. What don't you like about the Rams, guys?
I like them so much that I've moved them from a wild card position up to the NFC West winner. I've now moved the Rams in that spot. I am on board, especially the fact that they went west to east. They embarrassed the Giants. Of course, the Giants embarrassed themselves a little bit too, but I am a Rams believer now and have them winning the NFC West, Josh.
Yeah, I made the same change as Pete did, moving the Rams from a wild card to the NFC West, but not just because of the Rams themselves. The Seahawks loss put such a nasty, vile taste in my mouth about that team at this point. I am extremely displeased with how the Seahawks, the effort they put forward at times this year. So I got to go Rams. I like the head coach. I think he's the NFL Coach of the Year.
Extremely displeased is the way he described that. All right, wild card teams. Pete Thompson.
I've got Carolina as my first wild card team. The Panthers have won 2 in a row. They're finding ways. They've bounced back from the loss to the Eagles. And, yes, they are a week-to-week team, but, hey, that's the NFL. And I really think that Saints get the edge in the division, but I still think the Panthers are a playoff team. They were in last week. Now, the other team that I've moved down, I've basically flip-flopped the Rams and Seattle. I'm not ready to boot them all the way out of my playoff picture, but I did think they looked pretty poor against the Redskins, and that's why I have them clinging to that last wild card spot.
I saw the Panthers as one of my wild card teams. I put them in last week. My other team, I'm keeping the Seahawks in the playoff picture.
Begrudgingly.
But if they lose this game this week to the Cardinals,
they're out.
I think they're slipping into a pit of just an abyss that they're never going to get out of. I like what the Panthers did against the Falcons. They showed some moxie. They showed a little want, and I appreciated that. So I got the Panthers, and begrudgingly got the Seahawks.
I'm going Dallas, Seattle. The NFC playoffs, by the way, we talked about how non-compelling the AFC is going to be. The NFC playoffs are going to be a battlefield.
Yeah, they're great.
Pat Benatar, baby.
Love is.
A battlefield. Philly, Minnesota, New Orleans, L.A., Dallas, Seattle. That's up for grabs, my friends. And by the way, we're going to tell you why. If you're an Eagles fan, don't get too comfortable. That's coming up on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. That's who's in, who's out for week number 9.